Hello, everybody. It's Fantastic Mr. Ghost here, and I was able to catch the Town Hall, the Update 2.0 Town Hall, and I recorded it, and I'll be doing commentary over it because I don't know how, YouTube's going to treat me if I just uploaded the edited content here from their Twitch channel. So we have Lathan, we have Hunick, Richard, and Joel. They're brothers. And I wanted to have a few things said before I start. One is I edited for time. There's points in their stream where they're tweaking audio and maybe, kind of trying to figure things out, as how they're going to go with a question. So I chopped that out, dead air, things like that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I cut out two features they're going to be bringing in potentially. One is for sure, and that is the dies. It doesn't matter in single player, more for multiplayer, so you know who you're talking to, even though you got a name above someone's head. But it's nice to see a color, and so-and-so is red, so-and-so is yellow, whatever. So they're going to bring dies in. They didn't, when they reprogrammed, I guess, the armor sets, they forgot to put it in. So, oops, but they're working on it, and I guess it's coming back. And then I edited out the discussion about accessibility, specifically color blindness for players who can't see what zombies are what. Because, you got the fire zombie and the electric zombie and the green zombie. And color blindness may not even show it. I don't know how that all goes. So those are the two things I edited out. And that's it. Now, this is about 28 minutes. And I'm going to just kind of interject some of the things I see here, and there are shorter videos out there and there are longer videos out there. So if you want to watch a shorter one, leave. If you want to watch a live stream and see somebody commentating over it and having constant stops and starts and interrupting the stream, then you can go there. But what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the whole thing here, and I got pretty much everything. And I also shortened some things. I forgot to mention that I did shorten some. They're showing some features for third-person view, and the bandits, they're going to have some kind of building blowing up quest, and I shortened that out. So let's go ahead and get started.
Hey, everybody. So, welcome in. This is our Storms Brewing 2.0 Town Hall.
There we go.
By Richard and Joel Hunick, the co-founders, and of course I'm Lathan, one of the senior developers.
He's also Fubar Prime.
First ever TFP stream 2.0 Town Hall.
Yeah, first ever. You know why?
What we could do better with 2.0. We want to thank you all for all the feedback that you've been giving us.
Okay, that's key right there.
We wanted to let y'all know that we're listening. The team has been reading feedback from
Good.
Reddit, forums, social media, influencers, and singled out a number of topics that we think we could do better on. 2.0, we tried a few new things, and some of it went well, some of it could be better.
Now, the badges and the storms did not go well. Okay, there's a small minority that likes them, but I don't think they're, hardcore players that have been around for a very long time. Weather mechanics and biome threats used to be in the game. Alpha 16 and then 17, they started to drop off a little bit. I don't remember exactly when. I know they had the armors, the stuff you could put in armors and whatnot. But I think they're going to address this better now. But the one thing that I like that they did was, and I mentioned this in my discussion video on 2.0, is the perk redo, perk trees. But they still have a lot of short-sightedness in that. If you want to watch my, that video, it's on the channel, the last video before this one. All right, let's continue.
And to that end, we're going to get into some details in the stream.
There you go.
We're also going to get into some details of some point release updates between 2.0 and some 3.0 stuff. So let's dig in.
We're going to start with, so why did we put in loot stage counts? Take her away.
The loot stage.
All right, well, thinking ahead, as part of the 4.0 story update, we wanted to guide the player to facilitate the story and encourage the player to explore other biomes and the entire world.
Well, okay, I'm going to stop him there. We already do that. you don't have to encourage us. We already know as seasoned players and players who are coming in new, which I don't know how, what their attrition rate is, like, or how many people are coming on. We don't need badges to guide us. We're going to, it used to be you dropped into the world and sometimes you'd be in the wasteland, sometimes you'd be in the desert, and you're like, well, this is a bad save. Let's see if I can get out of here and not die. So let's listen more and you'll see more explanation here.
Listening to the community and examining the system, we agreed this is not needed and removed it for the next patch. The game already has loot biome bonuses and POI loot bonuses per tier. So there is already incentive to explore the world.
There you go. We already had this. Now they added the badges to clamp it. Now you can go, they made it worse in a sense where you just can't even go in there. Now it used to be, if you go into the winter biome, you're going to freeze, you're going to get hypothermia. If you're wet, you're going to get frostbite, things like that. So the badges didn't do anything more than just add back the clothing mods that you would have to find in the world in order to go into those other areas. So you had to be ready for it still. Now, the way it is now is I could go into any biome. So they've completely opened up the game. So there is no threat. And I just don't understand that, So let's carry on.
And move on.
Well, those are gone. Those worried about the loot stage caps, they're gone.
Okay, there you go.
Only the bonuses.
There you go. They removed the loot cap. So it's still here. And I haven't played since I did an intellect build test. And I've only played each tree. But I picked perks in other areas that would help me kind of get through the game and through the test, which is like, Iron Gut and things like that. And some stamina, whatnot. And I did notice that, wait a minute, why am I getting this crappy loot? I could be in the forest biome and just going POI to POI to increase my loot stage, and then I go into the other areas, So yeah, I'm glad they uncapped it now.
Yep.
So back to normal.
Let's go ahead and talk about the biome progression. So kind of the same thing, why did we put in the biome progression? Let's go with Richard this time.
So biome progression was needed to pave the way for the final story and Bandit implementation.
I'd see the story should be just there. If you want to do the story, you can. So I think they're putting too much onto this story, and they're allowing it to cloud the sandbox concept that the game was fun for in the beginning and continues to be fun, right? Sandbox. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4, you can just go. And the enemies get tougher as you go into new areas. And there is no line per se. They have distinct areas. That's the winter biome when you walk up on it. Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, they have enemies that get tougher. And you're like, oh, geez, okay, I got to back up and level my character up a little more. So I think they're allowing the story concept the story project that they want to get done to muddle the sandbox concept. You can have both, but that's where I don't think they're very experienced here in writing a game that has a story and also an RPG element and different variants of difficulty for biomes and whatnot. So let's carry on.
Albeit we think we can do a more open-ended sandbox version that we have in mind, which we'll get into in a little bit. So that's really why we did it. We to tell a story, you need a solid guided way to get to that story.
No, you don't. You can have a story and no guide. Fallout 3 and prove this. Vegas had you soft guided. You didn't have to go, like, you got shot in the head, Benny, right? Everybody knows about the Vegas in the beginning, mostly. So you got shot in the head, you wake up, Doc Mitchell fixes you up, and you're like, okay, now what? And they have like tutorial systems in place to get you used to the game, and there's a mechanics for what is it? If you steal stuff, there's factions where you can, screw a faction over and they get mad at you and they attack you on sight or whatever. They introduce all that stuff and then you're off. You don't even have to do the main story. they do guide you though. If you want to, you can go through and all the roads and stuff and hit all the POIs and start leveling your character up. So they need to benchmark other games because they're already doing this. Let's continue.
And if it's all open-ended, you can't facilitate the story because
no, you can't. It's wrong.
Conditions in programming.
So can we make biome progression work with sandbox play, Joel? What do you think?
Oh, well, here's what we're doing. The biome challenges are going to be changed so that the biomes can be unlocked in any order to promote sandbox gameplay. So
awesome.
You can go straight to the wasteland and go and do that challenge first if that's something you feel like doing. Biomes are still going to have increased difficulty in order of the pine forest, burnt forest, desert, snow, and then the wasteland.
Of course.
And we're also keeping the option to turn off biome progression.
So I don't understand why would I turn off biome progression if we're getting the gear? Like we were talking about PPE gear, and in a minute they're going to get into that. But why would I turn it off if it's cool? If it's a good feature and it's fun and it's engaging, and I feel like, oh, cool, I'm going to go into the wasteland straight out. So I'm going to work on that right now. Of course, a lot of seasoned players and veterans are going to do that. Why would I turn that off if it's a good feature, right? So let's carry on here.
So we can do that. We can do that, and it still facilitates a story mode, if you will. It won't break it.
So I think their thinking is, oh, well, you can go to the wasteland first, and then the story is broken. No, you gate the story. You don't allow the player to interact with, say, Joel or whoever's in the wasteland until he'll just go, hey, you got a rec needs help, or so and so needs help, or whatever. And then if that's the first instance of you interacting with the story, you get a marker or some kind of update in your quest log. See so and so first, right? Because if they want a linear story, that's fine, but there's ways to facilitate that if a player is going around to the end goal, because there's people can't do that, and you should allow that. You should allow people to go, hey, there's this trader here, and I'm going to talk to him first. So let's carry on.
And everyone, keep in mind, so we've always thought of this as having a mode. We would have our story mode and then also a sandbox mode, which we're going to talk a little bit about.
They should have all one mode.
That's always been,
yeah. We got some exciting news coming.
I'm not trying to jump ahead, but I just want you all to know that that's always kind of been in our mind as we do these things. We've always kind of had that plan.
Yeah, and that's what they need to break. They don't need a story mode, and they don't need a separate story mode and a sandbox mode.
To speak to that a little bit, we all wanted to enjoy a story mode with the 4.0 update, but we also want to acknowledge that the sandbox way is a fun way to play, nomadic, and we had 16 alphas that did not have quests, and so we'll get into that later, as Lathan said, but
definitely. I just wanted to touch on it just a little bit because we were talking about sandbox a lot, so
we are.
Let us move on to the next question. So can we make biome progression more immersive and realistic? Let's start with Joel on that.
So this is kind of cool here.
Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
He's kind of being funny there. I like the sarcastic, thing.
Okay.
I had to do it,
Yep. I appreciate it.
So we're going to do away with the badges, but let me get to that.
But they're not.
We talk about it a little bit.
In a
the
sense.
Idea came from the mindset that we didn't want players to have to swap out armor or clothing items.
Okay, I appreciate. The badges, I like the idea that, I have this thing that I don't have to, interact with. I don't have to swap things out. The armor swapping drives me nuts in the mods, but once you get all the mods set up and you're good, then you don't have to keep micromanaging your armor. But when it was clothing and stuff, you're constantly, I need a duster for the desert. I need, winter coat, puffer coat for the winter. And it's kind of fun because you kit out your vehicles and you go. But it does add a lot of tedium. So let's carry on.
Whenever they wanted to go to a different biome, the Barbie dress-up game, I've done it in ARK and other games, and it just wasn't something we wanted to do. So
I agree with that.
Trying to find another way around that. The thought was to give the player a generic item that wouldn't be a piece of gear. So by learning all about the biomes and completing their challenges, you were essentially earning a scout badge.
Right.
So what we're going to do is badges are going to be changed to various survival kits to have a more immersive theme, and they will include different themes of personal protective equipment. So, names and objects are a little subject to change, but the general idea right now is, smoke survival kit for the burnt forest. You're going to have a firefighter respirator.
Okay.
And that'll be an actual item you equip onto your avatar.
Okay, now, before he's going to go through all these, but they're not an actual physical item that you put on your character, and they'll showcase this in a second, where it's similar to the badges, but they're actual items. But you just once you put it on, you're done, and you have all 4 eventually. And because it's an item, there's some things that they can do with this more. So let's carry on
into the character menu, or you could probably drop it onto your character, and it'll go into it. It'll just be an icon. It won't be a physical thing you see, but you're going to actually have an item that you craft. And
that's cool.
And place on your character to combat the smoke effect. And an interesting gameplay element there is, when you die, that's going to be removed from your character, and you won't have immunity to that biome anymore. So getting your stuff back, you might be prepared by having a smoothie, which is going to be changed to another item. We'll
cool.
Get to that. Or a backup firefighter respirator, on your motorcycle. So preparation
will
be rewarded.
That gives you options.
Stage of a challenge would allow you to craft the item, and it would also allow you to craft one for your friend who joins, so that he wouldn't have to go through the biome immunity challenge himself.
I like that. That's cool. I mean, you could be that could be argued like, well, that's cheaty, or that, and that's make it easier for the player coming in. But then, you don't have on the other side of it, you don't have to wait for your friend to collect all the crap. You're sitting there waiting, blah blah blah. So I like the idea that you can craft one quickly and go, here, take it, let's go.
So you can keep playing with your friends better.
Yep.
But I think there's going to be some more interesting gameplay with how we're going to change it. And then in the desert, you'll craft a heat survival kit, and it'll look like something like a bandana and a hat and sunglasses.
That's cool. I like it.
That'll negate the ambient heat hazard found throughout the desert biome. It won't protect you against, none of these will protect you against the storms, but they will give you protection against the default biome negative effects.
Still like a badge, but
cold survival kit, it's kind of like one of them full balaclava, I guess you call it. I don't know how to pronounce it even.
I think that's right.
Them winter mask and some snow goggles. And then we'll have a radiation survival kit, and that's going to look like a biohazard mask with filters. And then the player model will not show any of these items, but you'll have an icon and the description of it, and it'll be an object that you craft. The new biome survival kits will become craftable unlocks. I guess Rick just covered that. I'm just going through the notes here, make sure we don't miss nothing.
And I can show it real quick, but it's going to show the old icons.
It's a work in progress, and the icons haven't been changed in names, but we are.
I wanted to leave this in here.
This plan.
So there they are.
We think will make the biome progression and other aspects better. Yeah.
So they'll have the 4 new icons, so they'll be kind of realistic.
So you can see that you can pull them out.
Still kind of swapped up here. So
now, then remember, they mentioned that when you die, let's say you're in the forest, burnt forest, and you only have, obviously, the burnt forest protection equipment, you lose it. So you lose your gear, everything.
You'll be able to hold all 4 of them. So like I said, I mean, there's really not that much to show everybody. It's a very work in progress. But you can see all 4 are here. You'll be able to take them out now and put them back in.
Very cool.
Obviously, they will not have these icons. They will not be badges anymore.
It doesn't matter.
You will have a crafting recipe for them when you unlock
that matters.
them. So
being able to craft them is cool.
To the trader, you can just craft one and you're unlocked.
Yes, you can drop them to friends.
It's not even unlock. You're only immune when you're wearing the item. So protective gear.
Yeah, and I like I like the idea that you still have some skin in the game to get into these biomes. And before it was you had to find the protective gear to go into the biome anyway. So now, it's still a little bit easier, but they're going to address some other things about the weather mechanics in a minute here. So let's carry on.
Okay. So yeah. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, I don't have anything else to show in game because, like Richard said, there's very little right now. It's still work in progress.
Yeah, they saw how people were just hating on this.
But let's move on to the next thing. Can you create something more immersive than smoothies and give them a later game use? Joel, I'm going to let you.
Yeah, this is good here. I like this.
Yes, we can. So all the biome hazard reducers, they're going to reduce physical storm damage by 50%.
Very cool. Now that means I wouldn't mind having storms on, because now I can freely move instead of being locked into a POI and just like, oh, bathroom break, or oh, I'm gonna get a snack and hopefully I don't get killed. Got my headphones on, you know, they're wireless, so I walk around and I go, oh no, zombies coming. So that is great that we can be able to go around in storms. But let's carry on. We'll get the deets here. The deets.
There'll always be a use for these, and we're going to rename, like, the burnt smoothie will now become a black lung serum. It's going to be use the injectable animation that we have. That's really cool. So you will inject this when you're experiencing smoke damage and want to relieve yourself. So that's going to that's how we're doing that. The Oasis smoothie is going to be called the Sunstroke Tonic.
I like the
smoothie
names.
is now going to be Scorcher Stew. And then the Atomic smoothie is going to be called Fallout Flush. So these are all, and that one's going to be an injectable too. The other two will probably be drinks that you, or one of a bowl of stew, a drink, and a couple injectables is what we're.
That's cool. I like that.
We are taking away the linear order of it.
Yeah.
So he now go directly to the wasteland.
Now he reiterates that you can go to the wasteland and right out of the gate. So day one, you let's say you see a wasteland right next to you, you can go there and kind of putz around. And of course, I don't know if you do that unless you're doing a series where you go into the wasteland, but that's really cool. So he reiterates that, and yeah, I really like that they are making the smoothies usable throughout the whole entire playthrough. And because if you do find yourself getting wrecked and you have to go back in, then of course you're doing permadeath, that's over. But I do like that you can craft them and go back into the biomes and at least get your stuff.
We mentioned that.
Can we make storms do more than just damage the player and put the player in timeout and add more immersion?
Yes.
What player in timeout
is each biome storm is going to have 2 stages. Stage 1 will have a unique debuff per biome, which will be appropriate, like coughing with smoke, or you're getting cold in the snow biome, you're overheating in the desert. We're basically bringing back proper weather survival.
There you go.
Paired with this, so
they abandoned it. Now they're bringing it back.
Paired with a unique debuff. So after you start getting cold, so to speak, and with a cold debuff, and then after you've been out in the cold too long, you'll start taking physical damage like the current 2.0. So in the burnt forest will be smoke inhalation, desert will be sunstroke, snow would be frostbite, and the wasteland would give you radiation sickness. All these debuffs increase over time when you're outdoors in the storm. All the stage 1 debuffs recover over time when you're sheltered, escaping to a different biome or outdoors, or when the storm is over. We're reducing storm damage to encourage getting out into the storms more. It's probably still going to be pretty rough in the wasteland, but the burnt forest will be the least hard to survive in, and each biome will get a little nastier. We're considering giving a greater chance for storm zombies to drop loot bags to give brave players a risk-reward option during the storms.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, risk and reward. Don't make it so bland, like if I'm gonna take a risk it for the biscuit, oh cool, I got some good loot, so let's carry on.
We're considering adding mild storms that only do stage 1 debuffs.
There you go.
So there'll be heavy duty storms, and then there would be milder storms that just do the stage 1 weather effects, which we haven't really revealed what they are yet, but they're going to be more realistic and in tune with what you guys would expect.
So that tells me that they just didn't think this through. And they could have pinged the community and asked, hey, we have these 2 things we're gonna do, and they could do an NDA, or they probably they have NDAs with people already, and they could say, all right, well, let's brainstorm this out. You are our creator, you're our frontline, basically free marketing team. What do you guys think we should do with the 2.0 features that we have here? They could have done that, but here, and this is where we are because they didn't do that. Let's carry on.
And then we're also considering adding back some of the better weather touches, including fires, campfires, and torches will slow down the cold debuff. Being
there you
in water
go.
Or rain will accelerate the cold.
God, I remember
debuff.
that. That was so much fun.
Being in water or rain slows down the heat debuff. And we're keeping the option to turn off storms.
We're also, Sean's been working on storm duration frequency to make it a little shorter and friendlier. And additionally, putting in, we're working on some options to decouple storm duration and storm frequency, potentially store damage in game options in a future patch.
So this is one thing I think they're going to cover a couple times here or talk about, and that is the more sliders you add, the less of a fun game I think it is. They should stick to this is how tough it's going to be. And I understand that people want to do content creation and go, oh, I got this challenge I came up with where, like Cap's doing 500% storm frequency, which is, to me, I mean, that's not fun, but, he's doing it. But I understand that some content creators want to tailor a series to a certain amount of challenges, but I also think that they should, the default setting should be the way the developers think you should play. But all the sliders, I don't know, man, it confuses the whole thing. It muddles it up. So I think that you got to be very careful on how much you can change in the game. So let's carry on.
So next question. Can we make storm gear or mods to survive better in storms? Actually, I like calling on Joel for a lot of these. Joel, go ahead.
I think they addressed this.
All right. So, yes, we can. I think we're going to... We haven't decided 100%, but we do want to bring some items back that will help combat this stuff. So we're thinking insulation mods and possibly tiers of those.
So going back to Alpha 16.
The amount of time that you can be out in a storm during Stage 1. And these new mods can only be equipped in the chest slot, which prevents stacking. And alternative, we're talking about, maybe even bringing back clothing items.
Yep.
That you won't really see them, but it'll be an icon and a description, so there could be tiers of clothing possibly that...
All they gotta do is bring back the old Alpha 16 clothing mod slots, or the slots in the character. They had like maybe 12, bandana, glasses, hat, then they had, a t-shirt, your puffer coat would go on, your armor would go on over that. Why'd they scrap it? Now they're going back to it.
You could find, and you equip that into your armor, so you could find maybe like a hat, a beanie to go into your helmet, long underwear to go under your armor.
Yeah, there you go.
Warm socks, gloves, etc. Basically, clothing kind of like we used to have, and I think that would make the looting of the laundry baskets and washing machines a lot more interesting too. And I'm always needing more cloth. Scrap it if you don't need it, just like the old game. So we're talking about that and seeing how that can work.
Can we make more options to control storms in the menu?
Okay, this is what I was talking about. Is the more options you have, and this is my big thing, is new players coming into the game. Veterans are going to kind of you're going to figure it out the more you play. But when you have a new player coming in, they are overwhelmed with all these settings. So keep it simple. Have it where it's like, okay, default settings. You don't have, the player doesn't even look at them. They just go right in. It's 8 zombies, the same, everything is that they have now as defaults. That's where you go in and just play. Don't bother the new players with all these settings. But then if you want to go to advanced, you click on the advanced button and then it brings up all these things. So I think that's kind of a good way to go about it. Let's carry on.
I guess I
jumped ahead and covered that one already. We're working on adding a couple menu options, storm frequency, storm duration, maybe storm damage, in a new expanded menu that gives us a lot more options. We're going to do some big things to the menu for a lot of game control options, simulations options, which are super important.
More is not always better. That's kind of another thing.
Thing was like we thought, not everybody's going to like storms. Okay, well, let's allow them to turn them off. Not everybody's going to like.
If not everybody's going to like storms, and you knew this going into it, then you should have rethought it right then and there, and not released this crap and pissed everybody off. Let's carry on.
Biome progression. They want to play sandbox, and we turn them off. But we're.
But then you capped the loot table, so it didn't matter if we turned the branches off. We still got the same loot in the green pine forest as you did the wasteland. It didn't make any sense then. You know, you basically nerfed the game.
We're going to continue down the path of more control and more facilitate story mode, facilitate sandbox mode.
Story mode plus sandbox can be done. It's been done. All you got to do is benchmark the other games that are out there that do it.
Can you make the new enemies fit better into the 7 Days lore? How about we go back to Joel on this one?
Here we go.
So
another complaint.
We've already started on that, and we're modifying the Plague Spitter to fit our kind of central Arizona lore with a Native American looking Indian. And if you guys haven't noticed, a lot of our bandits are Native American, so it's really going to tie in well with the fact there's a lot of bandits.
The game is set in central Arizona, where
there you go.
The Apache.
That looks cool.
So we're pulling it back into that lore.
And then we're also doing the Frost Claw to kind of look more like a lumberjack or a mountain climbing mountain man badass guy. We'll show them when they're done.
Okay, yeah. A lot of complaints were that the Frost Claw looks like it doesn't fit the theme of a zombie apocalypse. It doesn't look human. How did that come about? You could say the same thing about the green and electric and fire zombies. How did they become that? The demolishers, like where do these demolishers come from, and why do they have these buttons on them that are wired up for bombs? It was just thrown in there so they could be base killers.
But rest assured, they look like zombies and special infected, and they're not too fantasy, you know. So we listened to your feedback and got to thinking about
fantasy.
We agreed, so we're getting those redone.
Can you spawn less of the new enemies in the desert and snow biomes?
So this is a complaint I've been seeing in some comment sections on some videos. I don't mind more zombies. More zombies means more experience. It does get annoying when you're trying to do something, like if you're in the desert biome and you're trying to, let's say you want to build a base, and you've got these plague spitters just popping up left and right, and it does get annoying. So yeah, I do think they need to dial it back. I've not built in any biome other than the Pine Forest in 2.0, and it is really tough because of the biome progression that they have. Now, I turned it off, but I was mainly testing the perk system and not testing like actual further progression. But yeah, let's carry on.
I'm going to take this one, apparently. Yes.
Lathan's cool.
No, we're gonna lower the rates, and then we're gonna make the challenges, not expect as many.
There you
go. We've got a number of topics beyond 2.0.
Okay, this is future stuff now.
Could cover some things people have wanted. Some previous, some requests recently. It could get into a little bit of stuff that's...
Okay, now these are potentially spoilers for 3.0, 4.0. Just so you know, putting it out there. Here you go.
It's like, earlier builds that, we thought we'd bring back or make better to the feedback we've been receiving.
Okay, I want to make this point here, and I see a lot of folks that want glass jars back. I don't understand the obsession over it. I understand that it's a mechanic that adds more realism to the game. How do you contain water? But I think that folks just need to focus on the current situation here. Glass jars, they're not going to add them back, folks. Just give it up, okay? I'm going to say that, and I understand why, but they're not going to do it. And if they do, I'd be shocked. But they have the dew collector, and the glass gets consumed into the recipe, but a lot of games do that, so just give it a rest, all right? Focus on the big stuff here so we can get a more, I guess, stricter, challenging zombie survival game. Let's carry on.
So the first thing, in this, we've been working on a third-person camera for a while.
Oh, here.
We wanted this option to play the game.
Yeah, I left this in because I thought it'd be interesting.
Lathan has a video that he can show. Oh, it's playing.
Yep.
So this is showing that you can aim right or left shoulder. You can't cheat and shoot around the corner. It refuses it. There, you'll see how it reacts to tight spaces and dynamically. Here, coming up here, you'll see some of that type of thing with the third-person camera here. You can see how the camera closes in because it knows it's tight.
All right, here's one. We want jars and strippers. Yeah, that's kind of funny. They took the strippers out because of the current political environment. I think, you got to be careful. There's this cancel culture stuff going on. So I understand they have to react with the times. They're a small developer. Now, someone mentioned, what was it? Searchable zombies, give it up. They're not going to put them back in. We have the loot bags that drop now. And I don't know if I would consider it a nerf because every zombie would have something in it, but they had to do that for performance probably more than anything else, but it was also tedious going through the zombies. So give that up. And I think that there was something else but let's carry on. Oh, yeah.
Lower area there.
Okay, let me pause it here. We got to remember this, and this is something that Satisfactory devs said. They had Jace and Snoot, and they were the community managers, and people want all these features. Everybody's got all these ideas for features and stuff, and it's great, but you have to realize that if they have a feature, that means they have to support that feature. And that's why a lot of developers are reluctant on adding things, because that's a problem. That means more stuff they have to deal with, and the testing gets longer. I don't know if these guys even play test their games. I don't think they do. But this third person view, I don't really care about. For me, I like first person.
All the bells and whistles needed to truly support third person. That's going in a point release before 3.0.
Look at that.
We have another feature. It's in the game already. It's not turned on. It's called flat spot code.
I left this in here, so I thought it was interesting.
Well, the game pre-caches and looks up eligible spots in the world that are 16 by 16 or 32 by 32 meters that are flat. And what does that do for us? Well, it allows us to look up and find better positioned dig quests, airdrops, and allow us to do more unique quest types in those areas, like dynamic events, more sandbox events in the game. So we can spawn something. We can spawn an oil rig where you have to go do a defense quest. We can spawn, but we're going to turn that on for flat spot for dig quests and airdrops, so they never end up like in weird spots, like on top of a house or on a road and things like that. And it is going to pave the way for additional quest types and dynamic event types in the game. It's something we've been working on behind the scenes. We work on a lot of stuff behind the scenes we don't share as much, but obviously I think more transparency would go a long ways.
Oh yeah.
And that's what this is about, this whole session with you guys.
See, they're at a point in their development cycle here where there's a huge community that plays this game, and when they make changes, they impact the community way more than I think they realize. And hopefully this is a wake-up call for them, that they need to really be into, they need to understand that when they make changes, the gameplay of everybody gets totally thrown off. So let's carry on.
The next topic is more weapons. Everybody wants more weapons, rare legendaries. I'm going to let Joel get into that.
Okay, so the weapon discussion here, I think the weapons they have are okay. That's what mods are for, and they support mods. They'll mention that. I left that in. But yeah, of course, more weapons would be nice. It adds variety, more flavor, but I think they're fine the way they are.
So that's something I've had designed for years, but we're finally, getting to a position where we can pull the trigger on this, and I'm really excited about it. But we've heard a lot of people saying the game needs more weapons, so we're wanting to make rare legendary drops that have unique names, skins, special attributes.
All right.
And these items would not be craftable, so it gives you a reason to keep looting, keep
got something to
playing
say about this,
and you could find some really cool, unique weapons late game. And I think I think everybody can relate to this when I say, kind of once you get all your purple gear, you're kind of done. So
I agree with that.
I think it's going to add a lot of legs to the game.
So he's going to talk about that, kind of like what Diablo 2 was. They had gear sets, and the drop rates were so bad on those, and it just got boring. I'm like, okay, I just don't want to keep playing over and over and over and over and grinding, because this gets grindy. But I like the idea here, because if you're just doing a one-shot playthrough, I have a goal, start and finish goal, and if whatever I find along the way is cool. So
adding in,
I'm not going to be a set chaser though.
Weapons and armor and tools.
Paired with that, we want to add in a game option for perma degradation, where Joel, why don't you cover that one too? I'm going to pick on you.
Well, once you got that purple weapon, there's no reason to keep playing for a lot of players.
Yes.
Unless you've got a really cool castle you're building, there's just like, well, I got the best gear. I don't know what to do now, so I'm done. Start over, play something else. So we want to put in perma degradation as a player option. If it's not for you, don't turn it on. But I'm kind of hardcore, and I think I'm personally going to enjoy it. And so all those parts that you're looting, or maybe your purple one's about to wear out. Well, the green one that you still have from earlier, is going to come into use. So I'm going to use that as my backup gun.
That's pretty cool.
Having your items degrade, maybe not for everybody, but I think it's going to definitely add a little more tension to the game, to where you're always, it's going to slow down the power curve a little bit. I think that makes it interesting.
I think it adds
people a reason to kind of keep going.
So yeah, I think that adds a little bit of uncertainty to the game. You've got an axe, and it's a good axe, and you're like ripping through the wood. Okay, well, it wore out. Now I don't know what they're planning on doing with it. Like, it wears out to 0, and then you just throw it on the ground and then let it despawn. I don't know how they're going to handle that. I'm assuming you could sell it or throw it into a forge to melt it down for the iron that's left, because you can do that. But yeah, I'd be curious to see where they're gonna go with that.
The next topic, we've had a lot of folks say, put the sand back in the sandbox, make this game a survival game again. We had 16 alphas that were all sandbox, and you guys, have abandoned your roots. We love to support sandbox. We have basically kind of 2 versions of the game we're moving towards, where you would pick sandbox or story mode.
Again, you can have both in the same game. It's just how you handle it.
And we want to truly support sandbox, similar to some of the previous older alphas. So we're discussing some game options to turn quests on and off, turn trader selling on and off, turn adjust food abundance.
I think the trader, someone brought up a comment. I don't know if it was in this stream here. I left the live chat in too, so you can see what's going on. It might have some chops in it, but someone mentioned traders shouldn't be in the game. And I kind of agree with that when I thought about it, because it makes it like, oh, now I just go to the trader, and if they have this, okay, whatever. And it removes the dukes, unless, the story, like I said, you can have both at the same time. You can have the story and a sandbox game in the same environment. If you want to do the story, you can. If you don't, well, just go build stuff for Horde Nights and whatnot. But if you do the story, it helps you along, right? So, kind of adds to I think the story should add to your experience, not, it's either or. But, so yeah, the trader concept, it's kind of like, how are you alive? It's an apocalypse. It used to be you were freaking knocking on death's door, trying to get through, whatever situation you're in. Where are these traders just sitting there all happy? Oh yeah, I'm in the winter biome. It's all fine here. And Joel's in the wasteland. Yeah, just sitting there. All these enemies around. Yeah, if you think about it, that complex would have been destroyed. Traders shouldn't be immune to everything that the wasteland can throw at it. In my opinion, but here we are. I don't think any traders should exist in the wasteland, really.
Abundance, water abundance, ammo abundance, med abundance, weapon and parts abundance, more difficulty settings, advanced difficulty settings, allowing damage given and damage received to be adjusted separately, along with, we may solicit the community for additional sandbox options they would really like to see in the game. An expanded new menu will allow us to kind of go nuts with game options there.
Bigger backpacks.
Bigger backpack. Hell yeah.
Now keep in mind, everybody, this is not a finalized list. Do not be writing this down and saying,
I want bigger backpack.
Exactly what they're going to put in. We're just giving examples of things that we could put in.
We want more stations in the game. What do we
here we go.
There?
Well, we've had a lot of requests about adding more stations to the game, and it's funny because I was reading in the chat one of the actual items that's coming, but here's some new stations we're considering, and I've got designs done for.
Get ready.
Looking at an apiary bee farm, so you can make honey, because you're always getting infected.
Now they already have trees and a book. Well, first of all, you collect honey from the stumps, so they already have that in the game, and they throw bees at you, which I think is kind of cool. There's a comment that says if you the bees should only be there if you get a honey jar, not just you knock the stump out, bees fly out at you, but there's no honey. Why are the bees there? They might be just starting out, but that doesn't make sense. And we have a book where if you chop trees down, you get honey automatically. Or, well, you get a chance for honey, like 10% chance. So this apiary thing, I hope they add more to it. So let's carry on.
Yeah, and I think it's something every player would love to craft. And, and there's going to have 3 upgrade slots to it, just like the other workstations.
New recipes would be good.
So we want to do a chicken coop. So that you can have a passive supply of eggs and feathers.
There you go.
And that'll have mod slots as well to improve functionality.
Now, Rob came in here somewhere along the line and says, so basically Darkness Falls.
Performance, all those things. And then the other one we're considering is like an electric or industrial stove.
That'd be nice.
You can cook way faster and more stuff.
So basically Darkness Falls.
Let's get into a little bit about 3.0.
All right, here we go.
What's coming to 3.0. We've done considerable work towards bandits. Some of the AI
the bandits meme
pathing has been worked on. We have 12 game stage bandit models that are in. Most of them are like 90% done, but have a substance designer pass done to them. There are some where
marks are working, where they're like yelling at you and communicating with you in combat.
So we're
working on
designing them with progressive inventory and capabilities, including melee, ranged, thrown items like grenades, Molotov cocktails, and self-healing.
Someone said fishing, which would be cool.
We will be supporting fetch and clear quests, but we are really hoping to get in something we're super excited about. We've never told the community, so if you're in this call, you're
here we go.
7,600 people that get to know this.
That's some good numbers.
We want to do a new quest type called Blow Up the Building. And
this is cool. Yeah.
We've been working on a stability system where the blocks are grouped into larger sections and fracture. And Lathan is going to show you a video of an early video of blowing up a building.
There you go.
Particle effects are placeholder, but this gives you an idea. This is going to facilitate a much faster experience for destroying a building. And
this is cool.
And so we're super excited about that quest type. You go in, you plant several charges, and then you go out and you hit a detonator.
Steam Workshop.
Okay, they went on a little more about that. You notice, let me go back here. Okay, notice this stuff, I think my cursor, there are bigger chunks of the building falling off. So, and that's how they're planning on going with some of the destruction mechanics in here in the game as well. But I'm not entirely sure, obviously we won't know until it's there.
You go in, you plant several charges, and then you go out and you hit a detonator.
Steam Workshop. Because I saw someone.
This might be interesting to some.
I told you a while back that we're doing that. Well, that is in the plans.
Hey, yes, we have a staff member. Many of us love mods, support mods.
So I don't use Steam Workshop. I mean, I got a PC, but I think that's maybe for I don't know if it's for consoles more than anything else, because the Steam Workshop might work with consoles better. I don't know. Because you can't really go to a website on a console, download mods. I don't know what the restrictions are. So, but I thought I'd leave this in here for those who are interested. Let's go carry on with it.
So much work to make sure mod support is working.
And it does. It does. He's not wrong.
That's part of, our DNA,
Yeah, and mods keep games alive for years, a.k.a. Skyrim.
Not against the modders. We're with the modders. We're for them.
Modders for life.
Just so y'all know, we can't do everything that we want, but sometimes.
And that's fine.
and that's good.
But now the difference between modders and the developers, because they're a studio and they have a product, is the modders aren't held to a higher standard. They shouldn't be held to a higher standard. The devs should be. And they are selling a product that they have to support. It's a software support thing. And if something's broken in the game, they have to fix it, or else they're not looking good to the community, and then their ratings go down on Steam. So let's carry on.
Just so you know, when we're reacting to feedback and we're changing our production plan, we are effectively delaying Bandits.
Okay, so this right here kind of raise my eyebrow. We aren't the ones who released features in 2.0 that everybody just hates and turned off. Pretty much, I would say a major amount of players of 7 Days to Die went, screw these badges and storms. They turned them off. Only certain content creators are playing with them because they have, they're kind of in bed, with the Fun Pimps because of the creator program I mentioned before in my last video. So he's putting this is gaslighting, I guess is the term. Don't put the blame on us. We're asking for features. You don't have to provide them, but you're the ones who put out features that the community rejected.
So you know. So when you request a lot of stuff and you come in numbers and you ask for it, and we say, all right, we're listening, we're going to do this, that costs us time.
You wasted time putting features out that nobody wanted, and you could have saved that time by involving the community earlier on with NDAs and protecting, making sure if anybody went out and leaked stuff, well, then you cut them, right? That's the how you handle that. It may happen, someone may leak it, but for the most part, 7 Days to Die community is small enough, the content creators are small enough, they're not going to do that. Let's carry on.
So, but if you want storms to be better, you want progression to be better, then we're gonna commit that time to it.
But you were the ones who put it out there. We're the ones telling you it sucks. we're not the ones who delayed the game. You're the ones who delayed the game by putting out crap.
And we're going to do our best to try to deliver Bandits as well, but it will impact some of our staff.
And Bandits, we just really want to get right, so that's why it's just taking.
And that's fine. I agree with it.
We have a lot of ambitious goals for it with a voxel game, so we'll get there.
Oh, it says don't threaten us right here. Look, right here. Don't threaten us. You caught on.
Okay. Well, I think that's it, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed this. I hope you heard at least some answers you liked.
Yeah, well,
stay tuned. Some of these features will be coming in fairly soon, patches, and some will be sprinkling patches that propagate.
This is why I haven't done a 2.0 playthrough.
Soon and as time permits.
So I am very glad that I waited not to do a playthrough, because obviously we're going to start seeing some different things. So what I'm going to be doing is covering whatever changes are coming up for the game and getting ready for. I already have an idea for a playthrough, coming up for 2.0. So content's going to be light on the channel, 7 Days to Die wise, except for covering whatever I can see. So I want to thank you for watching. I hope this was informative. I wanted to cover as much as possible here because this is a big event. This has not happened this is a first, having a 2.0 town hall. Our outrage as content creators, and I'm not very vocal. I mean, I express some things. I'm like, I could take it or leave it. But there were a lot of people who expressed this is BS, and it got their attention. So about 10 years of this. Well, I think was it I don't know, when Alpha 17 came out, that's when people started to turn towards, putting it to them, like, hey, what are you doing here? You're changing the game and why? This doesn't make any sense. And so I want to say 2018, 17, 18. So about seven years they've been told, and this got their attention. All the outrage got their attention finally because people are putting their hands up in the air and going, what are you doing? So anyway, yeah, I wanted to cover all this, and hopefully it was informative and all that. And I'll keep you posted as best I can with anything new that's changed in the game going forward. And when I feel like this is stabilized and they're on the right track, they've put everything in, because I don't want to be running a series and then things are changing on you and you're like, what the hell? It's a real pain. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace out.